Alright, here I'm going to just go over some of the practice problems with triangle congruency theorems. So I'm just thinking about which of these five, angle, angle, side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, side, or hypotenuse leg. Which of those five am I using for any of these? So I just want to recognize which are the congruent parts and how they match up. So I have an angle, the next side, and an angle, and then in that other triangle I have that same relationship. I have an angle, the side, and an angle, just going around that triangle. It's an angle, side, then an angle, so angle, side, angle. If there's a line in the middle of my smorgasbord that distorts anything that I write, so if I shift it up or down, it should be okay. Angle, side, angle. This is a theorem that we're using to show that those two triangles are congruent. On number 2, we have two sides marked as congruent. We have these two sides marked as congruent. We don't have any angles marked there, but we actually do have a third side. This side is obviously congruent to itself, and it's a part of both triangles. It's the third side in this triangle, and it's the third side in that triangle, so I have all three pairs of sides that are congruent. On number 3, I have one angle, another angle, and then the next side over. So I have an angle, and then the side looping around that triangle. That is angle, angle, side, and we see that we have that same relationship here, angle, angle, side. On number 4, we have to do a little bit of work with these angles first. I recognize that I have vertical angles here, so they have to be congruent. Actually, I'm going to mark those with 2 so I don't make it seem like they're congruent to angles A and W. They're congruent to each other. So I have an angle, the next angle over, and then a side. I'm reading it kind of going that direction. I have an angle, and a side. Angle, angle, side, shows that those two are congruent. Number 5 is kind of similar to number 2. We have this shared side in the middle, which I know is congruent to itself, and it's a part of both triangles. It's a side in this triangle, and it's a side in that triangle, and it's the included side in between these two angles. That angle and that angle have this side in between them. So we have angle, side, angle. On number 6, I have vertical angles here again. I have an angle there, and an angle there. My orientation's not great right now. One angle, second angle. Those are congruent to each other. And I have some sides that are marked as congruent. This side, that side, the included angle is shown there. So that's side, angle, side. I have a side, an angle that's sandwiched in between those two sides. On number 7, I see that right angle and I immediately think I'm using hypotenuse leg, but I don't have a hypotenuse mark there. If this was marked as congruent to this, then I would start with that. But I don't actually see any hypotenuse mark there. So I really want to think about this shared side again. It's congruent to itself, and it's a part of both triangles, which gives me a side, an angle. If this is a right angle, that has to be a right angle. So I have a side, an angle, and then the next side. So I have an included angle, which is actually side, angle, side again. And then the last one, I have an angle, side, and an angle, angle, side, angle is the last one. All right, I hope this helps.